Caledon.
Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Teena Avery. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have you ever wanted to play an instrument but just never really tried it? I am not musically inclined, but I've always admired one instrument in particular, and that would be the piano. Joining me today, we have Petryk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It is truly my pleasure. So you are a musician?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk, before we get into the big exciting news, let's talk a little bit about how you got into music. When did you start playing the piano?
Well, when I was 9, I was gifted like a free piano from some neighbors.
Okay.
And like I never really thought about music. It was always like drawing or writing. Mm-hmm. And then I just was like noodling around. And then one day, like I got these piano books from a composer that my mom really likes. So his name is Dufferin-Caledon.
Okay.
And then I just started learning them by ear and then learning them like through the sheet music. And then like it never really was a thing that I like wanted to do until maybe like 2 years ago. I started composing a piece for my mom's book trailer.
Okay.
And then earlier this year, songs just started coming to me.
So that's phenomenal. That's amazing because you've only been playing for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And
not full-time hardcore.
Right, yeah.
7 years. So you obviously have a creative side to you because you were saying writing, art in general kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you've got that artistic characteristic. Je ne sais quoi. Thank you so much. You can just do the rest of the interview yourself. We'll just let you keep on talking. But yeah, so you do that. So you started to play the piano, and something just clicked, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this.
Yeah. I mean, we like try to find that medium that like really suits us, and then we can express ourselves, and that just like it just kind of just came.
That's amazing. That's phenomenal. And I was not making it up. I truly do admire people that can play the piano. My daughter used to take piano lessons, and they said that she was a bit of a natural at it, and then she just didn't want to practice. So, and she was young, so she was like, nope, I don't want to do this. And we were like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's why I feel kind of privileged because like I did guitar lessons but I didn't like them because of like the structure. So I feel like I gained my passion for piano because I was self-taught, because I was on my own time. So then I could really, yeah.
There's another thing that you just said, the self-taught thing, that I truly admire. My kids are musically inclined, and they have also learned by ear, which I find absolutely phenomenal. Have you done any like formal training on theory or anything for music?
No, just music in high school. Like I've obviously taken music, but other than that, nothing.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
So you talked about one specific composer. So who inspires you? What type of music do you listen to? Piano music, we'll start there.
So yeah, Dufferin was definitely a big one. Like I've all through his albums, I've slowly gained more appreciation. And I've listened to like every one of his songs.
Okay.
And then other classicals like Rani, and then like all the classical masters. But I really like the expressive period of like today.
Okay.
Like new composers that are arriving, like Jan Tiersen, Ludwiko Einaudi, that kind of stuff.
Amazing. So what other music do you listen to? Do you listen to, or are you strictly, are we talking, it's piano or nothing?
All over the map.
I
listen to everything from like 70s Afrobeat to like hip hop to everything. Yeah.
And do you gain inspiration from those different types of music as well?
I think so. I don't think it's like conscious. I think like all of that music is like a melting pot of creativity that I dip into and stuff.
That's amazing. So when you're playing, do you ever go like really outside of the box?
Yeah.
Just to have something funky or just whatever.
Weird avant-garde stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I love doing that.
That's a lot of fun. So you just recently had a very exciting day. Tell me a little bit about that.
So these songs that keep coming to me this year, I recorded these into like 11-track album.
Okay.
And then I had a launch on Sunday, just like inviting all the people I love and people who wanted to support me to like get the album out there and playing a bunch of songs from the album. So
you had your very first album. Oh, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. So and was it do you play in front of a lot of people? Do you get nervous?
Not usually. On this event, for some reason, I was like a little nervous, but usually I just don't think about it because I get in my own headspace when I play, so it feels the same as like practicing because I go somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah, and I would think you'd probably be like even a little bit more nervous because it's your music you're putting out there. You're not playing somebody else's music.
It is a very vulnerable thing to do, and it's like emotionally kind of draining to like, here's my baby.
Please love it.
Yeah, please.
Please love my baby.
So hard. Yeah.
For sure. I can totally understand that. And then when it was all done, were you exhausted?
Yeah, still am. Still recovering.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So let's talk a little bit about your writing process. You know, and obviously every song is a little bit different, but you know, is it a long process for you to compose a song?
It really depends on the song. The first song, or the first 2 songs on my album, came to me like fully formed within like an hour.
Okay.
So, and which was like incredible. That's what jump started me into being like, maybe I should be a composer. So it felt like it was gifted to me from something. And then some songs I get like little pieces, and then they like over
just little riffs here and there, and you're like, yeah.
And then over 5 months, connecting them together where they feel right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really diverse.
So I'm going to ask you this: when you listen to music, do you hear all of the separate instruments? Like, are you like? I know that my son will be like, "Did you hear that bass riff?" Or did you? And I'll be like, "I heard the song." Like. And it sounded great altogether. But do you hear like the bits and pieces when you're listening to music?
Yeah, it's hard not to. And sometimes I've tried to turn my brain off so I can just listen to the music because I am analyzing and stuff. But it's nice when you get into that headspace of just like listening to the song rather than that
which
melody
is what most of us do, right? We listen to the song and we just absolutely love it, enjoy it. You get in, and you know, any type of music, or almost every type of music, I think just. Can lift a person up and just bring them joy and bring them to the place that they want to be. Just kind of, it's almost like going to the theater where you lose yourself in what's happening on the stage. With music, you can lose yourself in the song and just completely forget everything else that's happening around you and enjoy it.
And I love that, like, music in particular, I mean all art forms, but music has this way of just like getting straight to the heart. Like all these walls that we put up, like music goes right through those, and like it can hit you.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're feeling something, be it sadness, happiness, whatever it happens to be, listening to the right music can either change your headspace, or it can actually just, you know, bring you to a place where you're like, oh my gosh, I can really relate to that. I never listened to the lyrics before, but I've pulled that from it now too. So I think it's a wonderful thing, music, for sure. So tell me about, what's the name of your album, and tell me a little bit about, is there like a theme to the album? Is it,
So it's called My Mother is an Ocean.
Okay.
Which was after a long process of trying to name it. So it's like, the theme is water.
Okay.
So all the manifestations of water, like the ocean and stuff. So my mom is very much like a water person. Like she does all this art with the ocean, and I feel very at home in the ocean. So all of this like songs, it just felt very clear to me, like related to water and like almost gifted to me by water and stuff.
Well, that's phenomenal. That's very interesting. No, it's just it's to hear the composers, you know, where it came from. I think is very interesting, and everybody who listens to it will hear it a little bit differently than the way that you maybe hear it. Is that accurate? Yeah. People will just kind of, you know, as you said, manifest kind of where it takes them. Where do you see yourself years from now? Are we going to be on a big stage?
Well, a year ago, like today, I wouldn't, like, this is beyond wildest dreams. So I have no idea, but hopefully this becomes a career, because this is what like I love to do, and it would be amazing, like this expressive art that I get to put out there as a career. So hopefully, I don't know about a big stage, but
or a big stage behind a camera, because everything's online these days.
Yeah.
For sure. So is there, when you were going on stage, no hesitation? You just a little bit of nervousness, you just went out?
Yeah, and that was only before. As soon as I started playing, I can really sink into it. Yeah.
Do you see the people when you're playing, or do you just see the keys?
I close my eyes when I play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and people are always like, how do you do that? And I'm like, how do you not do that? Like, because I feel the music more. Like, it just happens naturally. Like, my eyes just close.
And I think every musician has something different that they do. Like, there's certain musicians, you know, rock bands that would make faces when they were playing, and I don't think they...
Yeah, the grunge face. Like,
yeah, like, or whatever. Exactly, it's exactly it. So there's always, or you see, like, the way that they stand or the way that they do certain things, which wouldn't be a normal way to see them standing or speaking or their facial expressions. But when you get into the music, people just get into it different ways. So tell me, if I were to put the album on, what can I expect? What should I expect?
Well, it's kind of a journey, like because a lot of the songs are in order of when I got them. So the first song is very much like an introductory piece, and then you move into like darker and then more water, and then there's a trilogy at the end that's meant to be played like all together. They can be played separately, but they really work as like this whole arc of like sadness to resolution, and so yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. What about, where can people, like, where are we going to be able to find this album?
So no, we didn't print any CDs because we didn't know anyone who had a CD player.
Right.
So
that's old school. And who's old school? I'm old school, but I don't listen to CDs anymore either. It's all on my phone.
Yeah, so all the major things, like I went through distributor, so it's like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, any streaming service that's out there.
Okay.
And then all the social platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, you can add to Reels and stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So do you think you would ever teach, are you like a person that would like to teach other people this, how they can express themselves musically, or do you think it's just, I'm playing for me and I want to write music for the world and let them listen to it?
Well, we'll see when I get older.
Yeah.
I like teaching people now, like in my music class, of like what I like to do. Like, you know, feeling every note, like it breaks your heart and all that stuff. But yeah, maybe as I get older, I will think like, oh, I should teach people. But right now, I'm certainly like, this is a very personal journey.
And any thoughts of collaboration with like another musician, doing something a little bit different?
Maybe
Yeah.
that would definitely be a new challenge. Yeah.
And I'm just throwing it out there because he wasn't even thinking about it. But if you were to pick another instrument to collaborate with, what would it be, do you think?
Like with piano, like two.
Yeah.
Well, I really like the sound of a violin and a piano, but
Okay.
I do not know violin.
No.
So I only know guitar and drums also.
Okay.
So.
And do you still play guitar and drums, or are you just like, this is it, I'm a pianist and that's all happening?
Well, I'm not at that point where I can be so expressive that I love to play. I don't get in that headspace, but I do want to learn guitar to that point, and drums is just for school. It's just fun hitting things.
Yeah, I've got drums in my basement of my house. I hear them all the time. So if you were to say something to somebody who's maybe thinking like, you know, I would really like to be a musician, what would your recommendation? Where should they start if they've never tried playing anything before? What would you recommend to people?
That's a hard question. I would say I'm probably not the best person to ask because I've had it was a very long process of just like noodling around. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff online, and lessons work for some people.
Right.
But they didn't work for me. Like
Okay.
the structure and learning other people's, I'd say like follow where you feel inspiration.
Just give it a try.
Yeah, follow where like your heart feels like, whoa, that's cool.
Wonderful. Taras, I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for tuning in, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This is you volunteering at Rogers TV. Directing TV is the cat's meow. This is you on location reporting on special events in your community. Way to go, Ace. This is you editing video at Rogers TV. Now you're cooking with gas. Why are you there when you can be here, creating TV at your fingertips? Hot diggity dog.
Hey, I'm Chef Corey Dern, host of a show on Rogers TV Georgina called Cooking with Corey. Join me bi-weekly for brand new episodes where I teach you not only what to cook, but how to cook. The only thing missing is smell-o-vision. That's Cooking with Corey right here on Rogers TV Georgina.
Welcome back to Different Life. Thanks so much for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, well, you're joining us at a great time. I heard about something that's new that's happening in town, and I got very excited when I heard about it. It is the Haunted Orangeville Walking Tours. Joining me today, we have Chris Fass. Chris, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
It is truly my pleasure, and this truly interests me. Yes, we're in that Halloween season, but we're going to talk a little bit more about what happens after Halloween. But tell us what the Haunted Walking Tour is all about.
Sure. So we have tour guides that take our customers around. They're wearing cloaks, they're carrying lanterns, they're looking a little bit spooky, a little bit old-timey, and we take you on a haunted adventure through downtown Orangeville. There are about 7 different stops, and we tell stories of history, folklore, some spooky ghost stories as well, and offer people an experience that hopefully that they'll remember.
And I think we all hear stories, and and some people believe, some people don't believe, but I think even the non-believers are interested in those stories. Like, I think that there's something for everyone to experience something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of intrigue, especially when it comes to folklore. As you said, some people believe and some people don't believe, but the fact that a lot of these stories have been passed down for generations suggests to me that there's at least interest in them. And even if you don't believe in ghosts, it's sometimes fun to be scared.
Absolutely. I mean, and we are kind of in scary season. We've got Halloween coming in the next few days, but this is something that doesn't just run for Halloween, correct?
That's correct, yeah. So this year the tours started, and we've been running them for the month of October. The plan is to run them into November as long as the weather is nice. We'll likely take December, January, February off to do some planning for some new tours in the spring, summer, and fall. And then I think what we're going to do is have the tours in the spring and summer perhaps coincide with things like a full moon, or maybe the Salem witch trials anniversary. I've got to find out when Dracula's birthday is. Maybe we'll do a tour on that day. And then, of course, we'll work right into our full fall schedule, likely many dates in September, and then a very similar number into October. Right.
So as you mentioned, this is the first of this to happen in Orangeville. And how has the response been so far?
The response has been great. We're finding that most people want to go on these tours on Fridays and Saturdays, of course, not surprising. We do have a tour tonight, which is actually fully booked. 2 days ago it wasn't, so pretty great for a Wednesday night, and it is raining.
Yeah.
But no, the response has been fairly overwhelmingly positive. We've had a number of reviews come in, and we're just happy to hear that people are really enjoying them.
So tell, without giving anything away, what should we expect? So obviously this happens dusk time. I would imagine, like, if we're carrying lanterns and wearing cloaks, and I think I need a job here, but
right. So we offer typically we offer 2 different tour times per night, 6:30 and 8 p.m.
Okay.
We have released a few different time slots for this coming weekend, just knowing that Halloween is around the corner and people are looking for fun things to do. So it is dusk. The later tour, it's dark now this time of the year. The tour is dark. We walk on public infrastructure, so while some of the settings are a little bit more dimly lit, we're walking safely, and people are definitely able to see things.
Well, and I think dimly lit is just the perfect atmosphere, right, for what we're talking about. So where did this come from? Where was the inspiration to start something like this?
Yeah, so, I mean, this is not a new idea. I've been very clear with that. I've been on haunted walking tours in a number of cities and towns. Some of the more notable ones are in Kingston, in Toronto, of course, and the favorite one that I've done was in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Wow.
So it's always been something that's been a little bit interesting to me. I'm also a lover of history, and especially town history, having lived here for about 30 years now. So yeah, the inspiration just came. I saw an opportunity, and I thought, you know what, let's try this out. And I was very, very pleased with the outcome.
So how long does the tour take?
So anywhere from, I would say, 60 to 75 minutes.
Okay.
I think we had one that lasted about 80 minutes, and it involved, you know, our customers asking lots of questions and being very engaged with some of the stories.
Okay, so we're not going to tell you what stories, obviously, because you're going to take the tour to find that out. But so where, how did you gather the information about the stories?
Yeah, so I think, you know, Orangeville's history is well documented online. There's a number of books as well that we've perused. The stories are also those that have been passed down. I heard about a number of these as I was growing up, reached out to some of these folks who are now our tour guides, and we've compiled stories. I actually got a phone call today. I was out for a run and got a phone call from someone I'd been meaning to talk to, and she gave me a third account, a different account of one of the stories that we tell on our tour, which I just find fascinating that that the stories are a little bit different, but different enough that it's very interesting and intriguing to me.
I think my next question was going to be, can people ask questions, or is it just kind of like a?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We invite people to to ask questions during the tour, to share stories. Many people, in fact, have. I always make the joke that I don't want them to upstage us with better stories, of course.
That's how I feel about doing this show. If the guest is too good, it's like, oh, they can't come back now.
Right. Yeah, so and even at the end of the tour, I remind folks if they have a story that they weren't comfortable sharing, if they have an idea for something that we can do, next year, we would be happy to hear it, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's so many resources within Dufferin County to find out some really, really great stories about what's happened, because, I mean, there are some that some of us know. And I'm going to ask you to give us a little tidbit of maybe one of the stories on what we might hear.
Sure. So I think one of the more well-known stories in Orangeville, if you've been around a little while, and I think most of us know Greystones, it's the legend of Red Feather. And again, there are a few different iterations of that story. We've had some customers tell us, that's not what I heard. I heard this. And sometimes it's a little bit more sinister than others, and sometimes it's a little bit less sinister. So it's been really fun hearing the different variations.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, I've heard. I don't know if anything I've heard about it is correct or not, but I do remember going to Greystones, and I've been here almost 30 years, I guess 27 years almost, and going to Greystones, and they would point out certain tables if you sat upstairs, like nobody could sit at a certain table.
It's Carl's table.
It's Carl's table, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And they still said it.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, I mean, the process. So when you were looking for people to kind of guide the tours, did you have to have a naturally spooky personality? Or the ability to be a little bit,
Yeah,
dramatic?
so what I did was I created a job posting, and I just put it out onto social media. I called in some favors with some friends, said, could you please share this? The response was actually pretty incredible. I had, if I remember correctly, I had 28 applications come in.
Wow.
And effectively I was looking for storytellers. There were a number of folks that had theater backgrounds. There were a few teachers, a few outdoor educators, people that were just naturally interested in the paranormal. And the interview process was, I provided them with a few paragraphs and asked them to give me a monologue. So we actually met behind Town Hall in Alexandra Park. We might talk about that spot on our tour. You'll have to see. And they gave us their monologue, and yeah, the performances, I'll call them performances, were pretty incredible. We have some folks that are, when they give a tour, they give maybe a little bit of a character, more like themselves. Some are an absolute different person. I actually am participating in some of the tours as well as a guide, and I'm just myself.
Okay.
So I'm fine with public speaking, certainly not theater trained. But yeah, some of the folks are.
I can see how it would be a lot of fun to become a character. It gives you that opportunity, and especially if you're talking about something that you're passionate about or very interested about, because that just brings, for lack of a better term, the audience, right? Your guests that are going on the tour, that just brings them in that little bit more, makes that little bit more, I don't know, it makes a better experience.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what it's all about, too, is the experience, right? Is this something that's good for all ages?
So we've been asked that question a bunch of times. I think the best way that I could respond is that younger children might not be as engaged as older children, and depending upon the child as well. You know, we've had a few kids that are 8 or 9 years old who were very excited at the opportunity to, you know, maybe see a ghost or something. And then we've had some, you know, teenagers that were just bored senseless. So it really depends. But if you have a fondness for a little bit of history, a little bit of folklore, a little bit of spookiness, and you can stay actively, you know, engaged, yeah, absolutely.
I just had this vision in my head while you were talking about me hiding out, finding the tour, and just like jumping out and scaring people over the next couple days.
It's a great segue into the fact that there are no jump scares on this tour. While we are in costume and we are visiting some sort of spooky places, talking about some spooky things, there are no jump scares. If
Perfect.
people want that, they can go to Canada's Wonderland.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I promise I will not be out in the next little while wearing a cape jumping out at you. Yeah, that's not where we're going with that one for sure.
That would be funny, though.
It would be funny if we could plan it in a way that it was comical and not scaring somebody. I would feel horrible, unless it was somebody I knew. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about where people can get information about the tours that are happening.
Absolutely, yeah. So we do still have some tickets available for this weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, there are tickets available. Check the website, www.hauntedorangeville.com. We're also on social media, at Haunted Orangeville on Instagram and at Haunted Orangeville 1 on Facebook.
Yes, and we have been sharing that information, and that information will come up as well. I think this is absolutely fabulous. I look forward to the time I can take a tour, and just make sure that if you can't make it out as we're airing and we're heading towards Halloween, then there's opportunity, hopefully weather permitting, in November, and then looking for information coming up for the spring. I want to thank you, Chris, so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It was truly my pleasure. I hope you guys have a haunted week. And until next time, bye-bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line email us, or connect with us on social media.
Today, I helped a parent feed their family by connecting them to a food program.
Today, I helped someone connect with mental health supports.